Breaking: the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical oil shipping lanes, is shut down. Tonight we're covering 4 angles of this story, from the physical threat of mines in the water to Trump's 10-day ultimatum and what it all means for global energy markets. Stay with us. Here is what multiple outlets agree on. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway through which a significant share of the world's daily oil supply passes, has seen commercial shipping traffic come to a halt. According to DW and The Guardian, the presence or threat of mines in the Strait poses a serious risk to maritime traffic. According to CNN and The Guardian, Iran has stated the Strait is, quote, completely open, but has warned it could close again if a U.S. blockade continues. President Trump has accused Iran of violating a ceasefire agreement, and according to The Guardian, he has extended a deadline for Iran to reopen the waterway by 10 days while pausing threatened strikes on energy infrastructure. Analysts, according to The Guardian, have raised doubts about ceasefire stability and the outlook for oil prices. The first angle is the physical danger in the water itself. According to DW, the presence or threat of mines in the Strait of Hormuz poses a concrete and serious risk to international shipping, a waterway that handles a significant portion of global oil transit. Security-focused outlets framed this as a straightforward military vulnerability, a narrow choke point that is exceptionally difficult to protect against mine warfare. Left-leaning outlets, including The Guardian, place this threat inside a broader economic and diplomatic frame, asking not just whether ships can pass, but whether oil prices and shipping patterns will return to normal at all, given what analysts describe as a fragile ceasefire and ongoing damage to production infrastructure. The hardest fact here, according to DW, the Strait of Hormuz is one of the most strategically exposed maritime choke points on the planet. The framing gap matters because one side is asking how dangerous is the water while the other is asking how long does the crisis last. The second angle is the halt of shipping traffic and the diplomatic standoff driving it. According to CNN and The Guardian, commercial vessels have stopped moving through the strait amid the ongoing Iran conflict. CNN's coverage leads with the traffic stoppage and U.S. diplomatic activity, including Trump's statement that a delegation is heading to Pakistan for talks. The Guardian foregrounds Iranian agency in the standoff, reporting that Tehran has warned the strait could close again if a U.S. blockade continues. According to The Guardian, Trump has stated the blockade will remain in place until a, quote, transaction with Tehran is complete. The hardest agreed fact, according to both outlets, shipping traffic in the Strait of Hormuz has halted. The framing gap matters because it shapes whether viewers see this primarily as a US-led pressure campaign or as a two-sided standoff with Iran holding real leverage. The third angle is Trump's accusation that Iran violated a ceasefire and his decision to extend the diplomatic window. According to multiple outlets, Trump accused Iran of breaching a ceasefire agreement related to the strait. Security-focused coverage frames his threat of military strikes as a credible deterrent, a firm response to what he characterizes as Iranian non-compliance. Left-leaning coverage, including The Guardian, leads instead with a diplomatic extension. Trump gave Iran 10 additional days and paused what he described as planned strikes on energy infrastructure, while stating that talks are, in his words, going very well. According to The Guardian, Trump said he is holding off on, quote, energy plant destruction during this window. The hardest fact, the deadline was extended by 10 days, per The Guardian. The framing gap matters because the same set of actions reads either as maximum pressure or as a negotiated pause, depending on which element is treated as the headline. The fourth angle is Trump's public accusation of a, quote, total violation and his Tuesday ultimatum. According to both Time magazine and The Guardian, the Strait of Hormuz remains closed as of the time of reporting. According to both outlets, Trump publicly accused Iran of a total violation in connection with the situation. Security-focused coverage centers on that accusation as the primary news event, Iran's conduct as the cause, Trump's statement as the response. The Guardian's coverage draws attention to the tone and delivery. Trump issued his warning via what the outlet describes as an expletive-ridden social media post, threatening consequences he described as, quote, hell if Iran did not reopen the strait by Tuesday. The hardest fact, according to The Guardian, that Tuesday deadline was set and the strait remained closed. The framing gap matters because the same presidential statement is either a firm diplomatic signal or a volatile escalation, and that distinction has real consequences for how markets and allies respond. Step back and look at the full picture. For separate angles, mine threats, a shipping halt, a ceasefire accusation, and a shifting ultimatum are all part of the same unresolved crisis in one of the world's most consequential waterways. What they add up to is this: the Strait of Hormuz is closed, the diplomatic timeline keeps moving, and the gap between military threat and negotiated outcome remains wide. According to The Guardian, analysts are not yet confident that oil prices or shipping will normalize. The biggest unresolved question is whether Trump's extended deadline produces a verifiable agreement, or whether the next deadline passes the same way. Watch for three things: whether shipping resumes, whether Iran responds formally to the 10-day window, and whether oil markets begin pricing in a longer disruption. The complexity here is real, and it is not resolved. So here is the question we're leaving you with tonight: if the Strait of Hormuz stays closed past Tuesday's deadline, does diplomacy still have a path, or does the next move belong to the military? That's SkunkFeed, keeping you informed, not influenced. Like and follow for updates as this story develops.